Hey you guys, welcome to Strange Foolery. I'm your host Claire Bear, and today I will be doing a time-lapse painting of Laika the Space dog. Laika was a stray dog living on the streets of Moscow before she was picked up by scientists the week before her flight on the Sputnik 2. The United States and the Soviet Union were racing against each other to get to space first, and since the effects of space travel on humans wasn't known at the time, Laika was one of 3 dogs trained for that mission. Laika's backup was a dog named Albina, who had already flown twice on a test rocket, and a third dog, Mushka, was going to be the control dog, so she would stay on the ground and test the life support. The cabin of Sputnik 2 was about the size of a washing machine, not like a washing machine nowadays where you can fit a whole adult in there. These are 1950s washing machines, so very small. And Laika herself, being only 11 pounds, needed to be prepared to stay in such a small space. The training for that is putting a dog in a cage for days and not letting them out. But when you do let them out, you put them in a progressively smaller cage until you get the final cage to be the size of the cabin that you want the dog to be in. And this is really harmful to dogs because they don't like really to use the bathroom where they sleep. So they would have all kinds of issues, and it just is sad and painful for them. A NASA document says that Laika was actually put into the cabin of Sputnik 2 3 days before the launch so that she could get acclimated to the space and to the feeding system. It was cold that time of year, so she also had a space heater, and there were 2 assistants watching her to make sure she was doing okay. So on November 3rd, 1957, aboard the Sputnik 2, Laika was sent into orbit. During the launch, Laika's heart rate and respiration increased, but once Sputnik reached orbit, the Block A core didn't separate like it was supposed to and prevented the thermal control system from working properly. Some of the thermal insulation was also torn loose, and that raised the cabin temperature to about 104 degrees. And after 3 hours, Laika's pulse had settled back down, and she was kind of just hanging out, and she was agitated, but she was still eating her food. And then approximately 5 to 7 hours into the flight, after about 4 orbits around the Earth, there were no signs of life from Laika or from the Sputnik 2. I can't imagine how scared Laika must have been in that moment while she's overheating in space. I imagine she was probably thinking about the night that one of the scientists took her home, because one of them had done that. He felt a little sad for her and just wanted her to have something nice, because they all knew that she wasn't going to come back. And it's just heartbreaking to think that she just didn't know what was going on, and she had undergone all of this training with the centrifuge training and being kept in a cage for so long and just being hot and just anxious. I just can't even imagine that. I'm sorry. So even though Laika passed away from overheating after 4 orbits, the craft continued to orbit the Earth for 5 months. It did 2,570 rounds before it disintegrated upon re-entry in April of 1958. The return didn't always happen. 4 dogs after Laika were actually killed in space missions, one of them being Mushka, the dog that she had trained with when the rocket she was on exploded in July of 1960. I was actually inspired to paint this portrait of her after hearing the Billie Eilish song My Future. There's a line where she says, "Can't you hear me? I'm not coming home." And I just instantly thought of Laika and her contribution, her trip to space, and everything that she's done for humanity and for science. There's so much stuff that we couldn't do without animals because they're secondary beings on this planet to us. And we feel like, oh, it's just a dog. But I think at the end of the day, we have to remember that these dogs didn't choose this. These animals didn't choose this. Monkeys don't choose to go up into space. So I think that we should be a little more reverent and respectful to these animals. And I think there should be a day. I think there should be a whole Google holiday just for Laika. I would love that. if that happened for her. I think she deserves it. In my home, she's never going to be forgotten. I'm going to hang up this portrait of her. It's over a yard wide. It's over a yard tall. It's a pretty big painting, but I'm going to hang it up so that she can be honored at our house. Her stories actually also inspired me to start on a new series of heroic animals, so like cats and dogs and monkeys and stuff like that, that have made such a big contribution to humanity, whether they're famous or not. I think I would like to find some animals that haven't really gotten a lot of attention, but it's kind of hard to do because most animals have been recognized in some capacity, but I still want to just highlight them and celebrate them. They didn't choose to be these sacrificial lambs for us, but I am going to choose to respect and honor them in that way. And the only way that I can do it is art, because that's all I'm really good at. If you like this video, please feel free to like and subscribe. If you know of any animals that you think I should feature in this series of bravery, just comment it down below and I will get to researching. If you want to see more of my art and content, you can follow me over on Facebook and Instagram. My link is on my YouTube page, and I also have a Patreon where you will see these videos first. I have a lot of behind the scenes artwork progress that I don't post anywhere else, and also a sticker club. Shout out to my patrons, Jackie, Brittany, Cecilia, and Mama Cat. Without you guys, I would not be doing this. Thank you so much. See you guys in the next. Bye.